You can also
hold on.
comment. You can see when people are commenting as well.
So where do you want me to post it? In the comments?
Doesn't matter. No, you can post it either to a message to me or in the private chat button.
Oh, right. Oh, it's in Messenger, the last message I sent you.
Oh, perfect.
Linktree. You know, it's just got everything all in one. It's easy.
Oh, I got it. Yep.
Yeah. There's so many links otherwise. I like this background. It's very nice.
Thank you. I do too. It was a bit boring in the before, and I'm like, I need something new.
Yeah.
Hi, Jessica. Are you able to see the comments?
See.
If you click comments on the top right, you should be able to see when people are saying, good morning, Jessica. Yeah. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Margarita. Hi, Donna. Good morning. Hi, Cherise. Hello. How are you guys?
Hello.
I'm going to light the sage real quick. Especially with how weird things are getting.
Yep.
Things are getting real interesting. Hi, Wade. Hi, Chantal. Hi, Marissa. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Patrick. Hi, Connie. Hi, Christine. Hello, everyone. I had a funny thing to mention on the podcast this morning. So a couple months ago, I did a clearing on my sister. My mom texted me and she was like, check your sister. And I was like, oh, shit, something's going on. Says, check your sister. I'm like, uh-oh, what's happening? So I did a spirit release clearing. I went in with my friend Katie just to check and see how she's doing. And we cleared some stuff for her. And then Katie goes to me, she goes, is your sister pregnant? And I was like, yeah, she is. Why? And then she goes, I'm talking to the baby. I can literally hear the baby talking right now. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, he says his name is Leo. And he's a starseed from Avalon. And he's in a pod as well, just like Aiden. And he just says he's really excited to meet you. And I started crying. I'm like, oh, I get to talk to my nephew before he's even born, right?
Yeah.
So I tell my mom this, and my mom was like, all right, well, don't tell your sister any of this because your sister's going to think you're nuts. She already thinks I'm nuts anyway. My sister is a total, muggle type, And so I've kept a lid on it for 3 months. I haven't said anything. And my son and I, though, we've been calling him like Cousin Leo because that's what he said his name was, right? So this morning I said to my mom, I was like, has she chosen a name yet? Her husband has chose the name Leo.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That is so, I think
we didn't tell him. We didn't tell them anything about it. So my mom was like, how is that even possible? And I'm like, telepathy. Yeah. Children are able to tell people what they want to be called. And even though we didn't say a word, we've already been calling him Baby Leo for 3 months. And that is the name my sister settled on and her husband. And I was like, that is unbelievable.
Oh, I love that. That's why, with numerology, you can calculate all these things from your birth name, and people go, well, but you could be called anything. Actually, no, you have a name that you come in with, and your parents they download it from wherever, and that's supposed to be your name in this life. I love that. Yeah.
So we really do pick our names before we're born. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So anyone that doesn't like their name.
I was just astonished that my 2 muggle siblings could come up with the right name.
Yeah. That's why it's a really big deal to change your name. People they change their name sometimes and they go through a real spiritual growth or something really significant. It's a huge step, isn't it, to change your name, because it's just a very different energy. So yeah, it's a real significant thing. Yeah, I love that.
It's really funny. I've been married twice and I didn't change my name either time. I was like, I'm never changing my name, thank you. And my first husband ended up taking my name. He still calls himself Starr.
Oh, I love that.
So it's funny how our names, they mean so much to us in some regard. And then it's almost like when you take a new name, you create a new chapter as well. You end up creating a new version of yourself almost. It's like reinventing yourself.
Gives you a different energy. Yeah. When I got married, I was Marie Fleming, and I felt like I just wanted to add Grant, and I kept my name and I just added, and it felt the right thing for me rather than switch the name completely, because it just didn't, for some people it resonates, but for me it just didn't feel like my name. It just felt like I'm supposed to be Marie Fleming, but then with an extra bit at the end.
Isn't that interesting though, how much a name resonates and how we can even tell our parents what we want to be called.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if some people, like when there are some people that just don't like their name. They've never liked their name through their life. I wonder if maybe the parents just didn't get the correct name. And so there's
It's
like a
funny. I was
resonance
supposed
that
to be an
people,
Alex if I was born a boy,
yeah,
but no. It's funny. Nobody really has believed my name is my real name. Sarah just said, Lara Starr is your real name. Yeah, it is. I was born that way.
it's a good name.
So many people doubt it. They think it's a stage name. Nope. I've been asked if it was a porn name since I was like a teenager. So it's just funny how much power we hold in a name. We don't even notice that.
Yeah.
Just reading through the comments. Hello, everyone. My mom had my name picked out as April, and then when she was under anesthesia, my dad changed it to Consuelo, and I've never liked it. So you can change your name. A lot of us, it was funny. My stepdad this morning, he goes, "Well, why did they name me Tim then?" They obviously didn't listen because he's never liked his name. He changed his name to something else. So it's funny how it's almost like your whole persona is also kind of linked to your name and to your chosen traits that you had before you incarnated.
Because it gives you an energy. They say, and again, in numerology, there's an energy to it, and there is a resonance that we have. I love that. I'm so interested in that. Numbers and names, even with your business names, if you have like a business or a service that you're providing, when you start to add up, I do this all the time. Like I don't live by it, but if I just have a program name and I might add up the letters in numerology just for fun and see what the resonance of that number, and often it's, oh, that's exactly what the program is, or that's exactly the energy. So it's really fascinating. And house numbers as well. Just going on to the numbers topic, when you look at the number of your house, or you look back at where you've lived, just add up the digits. Like if you live in a house that adds up to a 5, you'll find that that's kind of a property to help you change and move and have variety. It's not the kind of stable, calm energy. It's more the changing and the moving. You might live at a number 7, which is very, spiritual growth, wisdom, learning, training. So it's really, really interesting when you look back at where you've lived and what the numbers are.
Well, people don't realize you have a contract for so many things. In fact, you have a contract to often live in a specific spot. You won't believe how many people I do a check on them. I'll be like, do they have any contracts? And they'll be like, yeah, they have a contract to live where they're living right now, like a prenatal past life contract to own the home that they're in. So it's almost like we get funneled into certain areas that are meant for us. And it's like we get blocked from areas that we are not meant to be.
Very true.
And it can get real frustrating if we feel we're like, no, that's what I wanted though. And the universe is like, I got other plans for you. Sorry.
Other plans. Yeah.
It's a little distracting, I know, with all the different comments popping up.
Literally eye to eye with my door, getting home 8:05. She's saying 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's a 4. So 4, just to throw it out there, is like very, it's like a grounded number. It's very like foundations, building, community growth. It's a very solid number, 4 corners. So it's like a good sort of base. So you can just like rely on that space. That's a nice. They're all nice numbers, but they have different resonances. Yeah. Interesting.
It's interesting about that. I didn't even think about that, about the addresses and how that would have a significance. Interesting. There's been a couple of cases where I've noticed the address is similar to the case number. Where somebody will book like case number 605, and then I'll notice their address is like 506. I'm like, well, that's weird. So it's funny how it's almost like all these little synchronicities are meant to come together.
Yeah, definitely.
So for you guys, when it comes to hypnosis, because Marie does hypnosis, but you also do quite a few different things. You're also a coach, and you want to just go into a little bit about what you do?
It's so hard, isn't it, to pick a label for yourself when you do this like multi-dimensional work. So the quickest way I describe it is I'm a channel. So I channel the Arcturian Council and the angelic realm. And so everything I do is through the channel. So the kind of areas that we do is channeling for people. So it's channeling messages for you. And also we have a training academy where we're teaching people how to become channels, connect into their channel. So channeling, then we do healings and clearings, which is the big kind of area now that I've been doing a lot of, energy, entity release, AI, which we'll talk about. clearing it from the system, anything, and trauma, and anything that's basically in your energy field that's just shouldn't be there and no longer needs to be there. So it's all the clearing, healing pieces, because the Arcturians are very much here to help heal people and help heal the planet. And then we do the activations piece, which is fun, activating starseeds. All of you here, no doubt, are starseeds, because you wouldn't be here on this page. I attract all the starseeds as well. So, starseeds that, even though we're here as starseeds, we're not all on mission, right? And sometimes we need that activation. And when I talk about activations, I'm a big believer, and I just want to throw this out there at the beginning. I don't think anybody needs an activation. I've posted about this. So it's not to say, oh, you can only step into my service or an offering, and be activated by someone else. Activations, you're absolutely able to do it yourself, because your higher self is guiding you. Your guides are all around you. We're all being activated all the time, even through conversation. The way I see it is, I'm just here if you want it speedy. You don't want to wait. You just want to have a session. You actually just feel like it will be a fun thing, an enjoyable thing, and you just want that outside pair of hands. But when I talk about activations, I like to make that clear, because there's a lot of stuff in the spiritual community that I don't like, where it sort of says, well, you have to have this session, otherwise you're screwed for life, and I just want to make that clear, especially people who don't know me. So the activations, and then we do trainings, strategies. Arcturians love, they're very into the information, so we like to train and teach and help you with strategy, and very practical, as well as the energetics. So so my company business, the Awake Revolution, is very, very kind of varied, I suppose, multidimensional. And so I'm very connected, but also hopefully you feel very on the ground. So I think that's important to be feet, like my favorite phrase is feet on the ground, or eyes on the stars, feet on the ground. And I love those. Well, your image here makes me think of that. The colors. You've got like the earthy, the ground, and the sky, and I love that. So that's kind of how we roll.
I did notice that when I check a lot of starseeds, how ungrounded they are. Because we're all kind of like kind of going off on adventures without realizing it, and then we wonder why we can be a bit clumsy, why at times we struggle to sleep, why at times we can also feel like there's too much energy and we feel like we're just dealing with too much. Because if you're not grounding that energy, if you're not rooted in your body, you're going to end up having all kinds of ungrounded issues, like dropping things and bumping into stuff. I get bruised a lot when I'm ungrounded, because I'm always dropping things or bumping into stuff.
That's a good example. Yeah, but that's true. I think people, when they come to me, they're either, it's two, you can be in between, but either it's the people that are so grounded, they need the activation to kind of like blow that lid off and actually connect them up, and for them to realize you're multidimensional, right? We're all multidimensional. So it's like, that's fun to just kind of pull that lid off. But then for a lot of people, more often, I think the people that I tend to work with, they are already connected and they've got that spiritual connection going, but it's like they don't particularly want to be in the body. And I was like that. I had years of that before I had my massive awakening. I was just up in the head, living from the head, and it was very difficult. And especially, most of us have gone through trauma or craziness, colorful life experiences. I don't think anyone is here, even in the comments or on the replay, who haven't gone through some life challenges, right? So when we go through
it's like
those,
a Starseed initiation for you to be going through for a while.
Yeah. So you're kind of, and when we have that, it's not comfortable being in the body if you haven't processed and dealt with and healed and cleared out those remnants, that residue of energy, and it's very difficult. So it's a lot nicer to be up here, but I think it's very hard for starseeds actually to create like tangible results, so that's why we've got like financial issues for starseeds and light workers. Making money's hard, building maybe their businesses.
Well, they've never had to do it on any other planet either. This is new to them. This whole regime here is unlike anything they've had to deal with before.
And then the rules are all different here, because it doesn't happen quickly. It's like so slow as well.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
have
lot of
noticed
it.
that many of the starseeds struggle with understanding like the feasibility of it all. Like they just think it's like it doesn't make sense, and you're right, it doesn't. A lot of it doesn't make sense because it's
Yeah,
unnecessary. And yet it's like the earth seeds that have been here for much longer, they've gotten acclimated to the bullshit where they're
yeah,
like, well, you know, it is what it is. And they just kind of get more used to the status quo because they've been dealing with it for so long. But
yeah.
the star seeds come down here and they're like, why is everybody okay with this? You
Yeah,
know?
this is the interesting thing about this timeline. This timeline that we're on is so special. I just think it's so special and magical because I'm always told by my team as well that there's never been a time where so many of us incarnated all at once on this timeline. So we've got this like crazy variety of, as you just said, like star seeds, earth seeds that have been had loads of human lives. We've got people that are coming in, this is their first human life, and they've chosen this crazy timeline to be on it. I know a couple of people who they've not had a human life before this one, and they're doing
Yeah.
incredible work here. And so we've got this mixture of people, all piled into this timeline, right? So we're all kind of trying to trying to navigate
Yeah.
this time, you know?
Well, especially for the Arcturians and several others of these starseed races, because they're actually an androgynous race as well. So they didn't even have a gender before they took a body here. So to be able to have to choose to be one or the other also does kind of cause confusion and frustration and a sense of being lost in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I find with Arcturians when because I have a lot of people that come to me. There can be from any other star system, but obviously I get a lot of Arcturians because I have that connection. And I find with the Arcturians they definitely got this balance going on, masculine and feminine. They've got a really good like whatever their gender is, but it's like masculine and feminine energies. There's quite a good balance, and they can kind of tap into both. And they seem to have this ability to hold both, and it's really interesting because not everybody we all have that, but some people are more one than another. And this was something I was making sense of because I was like, why do I feel very feminine in some ways? And then I got the very masculine kind of directional energy in the other
I've
sense.
always been a tomboy, and then I found out not too
Yeah.
long ago that 70% of my incarnations have been male.
There you go. Yeah.
So
That's
I'm
what it is.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
I get
resonate
it
with it.
now.
You're like, you understand it. And it's like you've had so many experiences. There's a logic to that, I feel. It's very
Yes.
logical, actually. Yeah. Mm.
So there's so many different races that come here though too. So it can be very confusing to figure out which version you are because there's so many. And
Yeah.
not only that, but I've heard many times where people will come for a session and they'll be like, am I a starseed? What kind am I? And the guides will be like, all of them.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time as a galactic, you've been all of them. You've been a Pleiadian, an Arcturian, an Andromedan, a Syrian.
Yeah.
You work your way down the list.
Yeah, I have a lot of like say if I do a starseed soul activation and people that's the question people go, well, what starseed am I really want to know, like I really want to know. And often like we'll say you've had loads of experiences because most people have, you have connections all over, but the reason say like you're coming into my session for example is because I'm out there channeling from the Arcturians very directly. So when people recognize that, all it means is you're connected to say the Arcturians or the angelic realm, and that might be the energy that's coming through from your guides, that's very strong, which is why someone's drawn into maybe a particular session. But it doesn't mean that if I say to someone, oh yeah, you've got these Arcturian guides, that you're not Pleiadian and you're not Andromedan. It's like they don't see it that way. When it's not like the way we are here on Earth, it's just very connected, and they see all of the galactic family as a family, and they're
I
all
like when the
part of the same.
indigenous peoples call them like two spirit people
Right.
as
Yeah.
well, where you feel that there's a balance that they're holding that is earthly and cosmic as well. Like you can feel
Yeah.
that there's, a balance that a lot of us are trying to find even within ourselves. And this is something that I've always kind of struggled with. I've always felt very different. And then I found out being a starseed is one thing, but there's a lot of starseeds that have been here a long time as well. This planet has been a melting pot for
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of years. And so there's a lot of confusion between the starseed lineage, the soul history, and the genetic history. because we have a lot of interest in the actual soul lineage, where our soul has been, what it's experienced, but also our ancestry, our physical ancestry, and where our relation to our bodies and where
Yes.
our bodies came from.
Yeah, and I think that is a really key piece, because if you're, let's say, a lot of starseeds, we're fascinated by out there, and we're looking to see where, what our galactic, family is. And then if you're completely neglecting the body, and remember the way that my team always describe it, as it's the vehicle that you're driving on this trip.
Yeah.
So you've chosen this vehicle, and this vehicle comes with a whole lineage of amazingness and also less amazingness. And it's like you inherit certain things, but it's not who you are. It's just the physical vehicle. So we've got to sort of navigate that as well, which makes it so interesting, doesn't it? Because we have predispositions to certain things. We've got genetic things. We've
Mm-hmm.
all got different diets. We can't agree on what we should eat, what we shouldn't eat, because we all need different things. And then we've got the kind of all the experimentation that was done on humans in the physical.
Yes.
You've got that extra layer.
So this is why we're one of the big
Yeah,
wild cards, though, because if you think
yeah,
about it, all these other galactic races, they're very closed off in a way. Like they don't mix too much genetically,
yeah, yeah,
unless and
yeah,
so you also see that there's a lot of like humans have just so much diversity. We're like
yeah.
22 different races mixed together, if not more.
Yeah, and that's why it's so much fun down here. And I think that's why I feel like let's give us all a big hug, a big group hug right now, because this is not an easy ride. So let's just acknowledge that. I always love to do that. Just acknowledge, send you all love, because we recognize, that this isn't easy. And yeah, it's just kind of coming through, just to let you all know that take a breath sometimes, because it's not, sometimes you'll feel so joyous and tuned in and excited and magical, and then there'll be times when you just absolutely hate the planet that you're on, what you're seeing unfold. And so there's just so much love coming towards you right now, because it's just an acknowledgement of this is a very interesting, there's a lot of humor coming in with that, it's a very interesting place to be. And the timeline, the point in humanity's history is very interesting. People are at all different levels of consciousness, and so they just want to encourage you just to keep going on your path, and giving you so much love and thanks for being here and navigating everything that you've all been navigating, because this is not, this is very different. This is a very different time that we're in.
It is, and things are evolving on a daily basis. It's almost like I don't
Yeah.
think even the galactics know where things are going to go, do they? They're kind of
Yeah, they know, what I always, because I'm always, we're always asking, like, when is it going to happen? What's going to happen? But what I'm always told is that we are on this, what we know is the golden timeline. That isn't political, by the way, because I know that phrase is sometimes coming in. We're talking about a golden, like lit up with golden consciousness timeline. We are here on this, so it's inevitable that humanity will move towards an incredible way of being, but that we're, they're often very direct, where we're saying it's not, that does not mean that it's going to be just an easy ride. And the how we navigate this, we could go so many different ways. There's so many different ways to get to that destination. And so we don't need to worry, because we're going to get to the destination, but we can all shape some of the how. We can, and all of us being here, being present on the planet, we can also direct the timelines. This is what we're doing, we're shaping them. And because we're all here at the same time, bundled in together, we're sort of shifting the track. So I find that very reassuring, personally,
yeah,
and comforting. But I think sometimes starseeds particularly, they just want to feel that everything's going to be
whoop,
wrapped up by
switches in the
Christmas.
matrix again.
Yeah. So it's like,
You
it's
guys still
gonna,
hear me?
yeah, okay, yeah, I can hear you. Oh, has it been bumped or
Well,
something?
the cabal was like,
Okay.
no. Oh, there we go. Now we're back. Hi.
Oh, did it just
It froze
glitch?
completely, but you're back now. You're good.
Oh,
You were on a
thank
roll there.
yeah, that always happens. When I start to channel, it starts to come through. It's like it starts to go.
Well, it's a good time to talk about AI, which was going to be
Yeah,
part of our subject
very
line,
quickly.
because AI is becoming a big issue these days. I've noticed.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have an Arcturian guide named Constantine that I'm constantly doing clearings with almost on a daily basis. And whenever I say, "Am I clear? Is my stuff clean?" And he goes, "We both know it's not." Like they have to clear AI every single time they
Yeah.
come in to check if for because unfortunately, anytime you're connected to the internet, anytime that you're have some kind of an electrical pulse coming through your technology, there's going to be portals opening, there's going to be extra things coming through. The other day I was doing clearings and it completely froze and started acting really weird, and I said, "Can you just check the computer in the line?" And they said, "Oh yeah, there's a worm coming through right now trying to destabilize our connection, let me clear it." And as soon as he said that, it got better, like the problem went away. And I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
get
"A
that.
worm? Like, what do you mean a
Yeah,
worm?" And they're like, "No, they can send, it's like
yeah.
sending parasites into your electronics."
It's the same thing as what comes through our energy field. It comes through the systems that we're on. Because every time I do a YouTube video where I take a clip of a hypnosis and stuff, really usually about AI or timelines. When I try and get it onto YouTube, the amount of problems I have, it glitches, it stops. I get a lot of interference, so I have to ask them to clear it up. And
Yeah.
it's a lot less heavy now, but they're clearing up all the time because there's so much infiltration as I'm trying to put AI stuff out. I've noticed that a lot in the last, say, 3 months.
If any of you
Yeah.
use any form of AI on your computer, you may as well be using a dowsing rod or a pendulum or tarot cards. You're still using a form, I hate to say it, of divination.
Yeah.
Because the amount of like it's not just about the AI. Like they're not just sending like parasites, viruses to your computer. It's like a sentience. It's like a consciousness that moves in. In fact, it can even end up as an attachment, and it can attach to your etheric field, I've found.
Yeah, what they're doing, I was channeling on this recently. We are getting the AI is programmed, so we have that underlying it, but then
Mhm.
we've got let's say the entities that can attach in through the AI system and then infiltrate. Like, we've seen stories like ChatGPT, people having really strange, almost horrible things coming
Dreams.
through ChatGPT all of a sudden. There was a story recently about that, and and I channeled on it, and it was like, yeah, because the entities, same as the way the entities get into the energy field, the entities can attach into the system. And especially you've got people using things like Chat GPT. And I'm not anti that, but I'm saying I've got to be aware of how we're using it and be
Yeah.
very savvy now. And I'm going to do a class at some point. I'm putting it together at the moment because I want to bring some teachings around how do we use this if we're going to use it. Not all of us are, but some of us will use it. How do we use it in a safe way, energetically clean way, if that's possible, and bring awareness around the consciousness around it? Because I think people are going in blind and they're just using the
They
stuff.
are.
They don't know what you're opening
Well,
up to. And
it does make life easier for some people.
yeah, yeah,
See, as we're talking about it, we should ask the guys. Can we ask the Arcturians to
yeah.
clear the
And
line for us now? Considering all of
yeah,
the
to
guys.
ask the angelic realm there just to stabilize the technology, please, and keep this connection going,
Yeah.
to the conversation. Just clear out
So
anything.
what's interesting though, I've noticed, and this is something like I asked about this. I'm like, what about the things that we create with AI? Like, let's say that you were to write a book with AI, right? Like you tell them what you want the book to be about, and then the AI gets writing on the book, and you give a book that's been produced. Every time you write something with your hand, every time you type a word on a computer, you are imbuing that word with energy and intention and your own personal vibration, right?
Yep.
So when this is what my guides explained to me, they said that when you're writing your book, your emotion, your feeling, your intention, everything goes into the words. And when people are rereading those words, they can still telepathically pick up the emotion, the intention, the vibration that is being put out, right? But if you're using AI to write it for you, then you are not the one putting that energy and intention and vibration into it. The computer is.
Yeah. And that's
So my
why,
guides have actually told me, and this is advice they've given people before. They said, if you're, let's say that AI wrote a paragraph for you, if you were to take that paragraph and even just put in 2 extra words, even just 1 extra word, with your energy, your intention, your vibration, you can change the entire vibration of the paragraph with just changing one word. And I thought
Yeah.
that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think there's it's the how you use it. You can use it in a very flat way, because my team is always saying it's not good, bad, right, wrong. It's just a frequency. It's just a frequency thing. Same as money. It's not good, bad, right, wrong. It's just how you're using the money to help heal the planet or screw the planet over. So it's a frequency. And what they're doing is, if you imagine we all tapped into Chat GPT and started using it for everything, writing everything. If everybody did that, it would, let's say we all started writing books and posts and messages and everything became that, we would start to only feel a certain resonance of messages, and then overall it would be like lowering the collective frequency, which is partly why they're bringing this in at this point. What they're trying to do is to stop this wonderful ascension and awakening that's happening. So imagine if we all do that. So that's why I think those of us who are walking this ascension path, we almost have a duty, I'm going to say, to just to really look at, I'm not saying don't use it, because sometimes you have a business need, or there's a reason you might be using it.
Harder, not harder. It's, but
it's
it's very
efficient, right?
important to still change it in a way that you can make it feel like it's you rather than being just by the computer.
Yeah, it's really important to be really conscious. I think we've got a duty to really start looking at how are we using it? What energies are we putting into it? Are we using it as a replacement? Because that's the other thing. Because it's so efficient, if we don't use that muscle of creating our ideas and letting ideas come through and brainstorming things and, coming up with messy lists and ideas, if we don't use that skill, which I think ChatGPT is doing a very good job of taking over at the moment, I see it already. If we don't use that skill, we're going to lose it. We're just going to become de-skilled, and that's what we need to be aware
of. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We've lost, I mean, look at our architecture is a great example. The way the architecture has gone really bothers me. Like, I am a big fan of old architecture, and you can't build things the way they did even 200 years ago anymore. It doesn't work. That knowledge has been lost in 200 years. So our creativity, our expression could be lost in 200 years. I mean, I've even just, even auto-tune has pretty much destroyed a lot of our creativity, because people are not even being more creative with their music anymore because they're getting lazy with letting, AI write the lyrics or writing even the sounds now.
Yeah, but here's a really great thing that they reminded me of recently, and I hope this will help alleviate anyone's worry, right? Because it's not about fear, but it's as we see this shift, we're going to see a lot of, as you just described, Lara, like all people that tune into this, they use AI for all of the creativity, and then that's going to be celebrated, and it's going to be speedy, and everyone's going to want to keep up with that, trends and all of that. On the other hand, there's always going to be that section of the population that just don't align with that. They don't feel that they want to read a book written by AI. They don't want to stare at some art on a wall created by AI. It doesn't have the same resonance. And if you have a higher frequency, it just won't resonate. You'll just feel, it's not against anything, but it's just, you just won't feel that human heart based, because it's not heart based. It can't be. So I always feel that as we see all of this like rapidly unfold, it's going to give way, it's going to give birth to this whole other part of the timeline. We're going to kind of split off into this part of the collective that we are going to start valuing humanity even more than before. Sometimes humans need this wake up, to actually really understand the beauty of humanity. And I feel that as much as the AI stuff is going to frustrate us in a lot of ways, it's going to open up this ability for humans to really cherish and value. Like, there'll be a time where if you say, for example, that your business is all human run and your customer service has got a human at the other end of it, people are going to go, oh my God, I love it. Love it. I'm going to order a pizza and speak to a human, right? And you know how we went before, we were all kind of getting a bit fed up. We didn't want to speak to people on the phone. We're going to actually go back into, oh, I really like that customer service again. So there'll be companies out there that are going to thrive because they bring this like back in. And I'm here for that. I really love that. And I think that we're going to start loving our artists more. We're going to start cherishing them. There's a lot of artists out there, for example, that create and they've just been overlooked. Maybe that's your time now to start bringing in your creations, right?
That's what I wanted the AI to be used for, because there's so many mind-numbing jobs that nobody really wants to do. You know what I mean? The jobs that are just things that a computer or a robot could do, the simple remedial kind of stuff that nobody really likes. It's like, this is why they have like the suicide nets outside of like Microsoft in places like China, because people doing the same job, factory workers especially, same job day in day out, doing the same motions, it ends up breaking your brain. That monotony, humans are not designed to have that form of monotony. And so it breaks you as a person. And that is the kind of thing I support AI using. Like if we have some kind of remedial job that's not that important, and obviously, you know, then let humans go and enjoy their creative side. But the frustrating thing about the AI is it does the opposite. It's doing the stuff that we would want to do, the artists and creating things. And it's just, it's like it's robbing us of the one thing that we're really good at, and that's our creative nature.
Yeah, and that's it. It's not, because it's not the AI itself. The AI, if in the hands of wonderful people who were programming it, we would have healed all sorts of things by now. But it's not. So I like to say I don't want to create any. I talk about AI a lot now, so I'm not trying to create any fear or worry about it, because actually AI, there's bits of it that's so amazing. It's like, wow, let's, you know, as you said,
all the
let's
galactics are using it, all of them up
exactly,
there. Every single galactic
exactly.
up there is using AI,
Yeah,
but they use it in a very specific way, and they
yeah.
have a very strict control over how the AI, it doesn't just run rampant and do whatever it wants.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a consciousness. So they work with, so like Arcturians, for example, they use really advanced technologies, but the way that they use it is it's in connection and combination with the consciousness. So,
Yeah,
like when I do clearings, I've just brought this piece in recently, which is I'm just looking at how that feels for people. We're bringing in these AI shielding techniques, and these are Arcturian, and they call it energy technology, which I was interested in, and they were saying it's energy technology. And how it works, let's say you clear your energy field, your frequency is higher than it was, and because your frequency is higher, they can bring in this kind of, it's like an energy, it's just an energy, like
yeah,
columns of light and stuff, and it's around you and it sort of circles you around, and what it does is it's almost like a technology. It goes around your field, so it stops things getting in, and they describe it almost like, you know, when you have a password, people can't read your email. So if we have this energy technology around us, it means AI can't get in when we're online or we're using something. And it's a beautiful way. And this energy technology of theirs, that I've done one round of coder clearing to use this on people, and it's really wonderful. But it's like, what it does is it works with your consciousness. So it's not like this artificial stuff that's coming into your energy field. Truly
yeah,
advanced AI can work with humanity's consciousness. The problem that we have at the moment, so that's where we've got to go with AI, which is great. I'm all for that. The problem we have at the moment is that the programmers obviously are not wanting to assist humanity, and also we're not at the level of consciousness yet to be able to collectively hold that. So it's like putting this complex puzzle into the hands of a little child, and the child wants to play with it but doesn't really know how to deal with it yet. So this is why to work on your consciousness, your healing, your growth is the most important thing to be doing right now, because then you can utilize these, because we're going to get these energy technologies coming in more and more. The more we have an issue with AI, the more we're going to be assisted, you know. So it's already starting to come through
yeah,
now. So there's a lot of stuff to really look forward to.
absolutely.
Keep your eyes open, right, and be conscious of what are you plugging into right now, how much are you using it, that kind of thing. You know, I think we're going to continue the conversations over the next few years, right, on this. Yeah.
Okay, is it catching up now? We've been catching, I think, about 80% of it, but it keeps freezing.
Oh, it's really stable
I
here. I
know,
can see.
it's because we're talking about AI. It's like you rang,
Yeah,
and it's like it's like giving us
yeah.
a hard time now.
Sometimes on the replay though, it's absolutely fine. You know, when you feel like it's glitchy, and then you
Yeah,
watch back the replay, it's like, oh, it's absolutely fine. So it looks stable to me. We'll see. Whatever
but
needs to
now
go
we're
out
good.
will go out.
So I have
Yeah.
noticed a bit, especially with like the Arcturian guides and all of these things, they're very well adept at understanding our technology and kind of fixing some of the issues. So I'm hoping that that is kind of how things are going to go, that we will receive some guidance as to
Yeah.
where our AI is going to evolve and how, rather than it just going rampant and being able, because the way when people talk about like Neuralink and allowing us to kind of turn ourselves into living computers, which we technically already are. We're an organic one. Now they want to create like an inorganic version.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are concerned about how that is going to evolve if you don't have some level of consciousness and understanding the morality behind all of this.
Yeah, I think at the moment we've got like it's polarizing, right? So we've got people who are saying AI is brilliant. Let's hook our brains up to Neuralink and become one. You know, there'll be people that really gravitate towards that. They'll put the chips in the devices. They'll think it's cool. They'll want to be on trend. Then you've got the people who are already saying, no, I would rather die than touch any form of AI. And there's a lot of fear in that also, even though I agree with parts of it. There's a lot of fear and stress around that. But I think there's somewhere in the middle. I don't mean like sit on the fence, but I mean there's some balanced place where, because this is how I feel personally, that I don't feel the need, for example, to keep up with trends because I just don't care. But I do like the efficiency. I don't know, as I just who I am, how I am. I love efficiency. I love things that are going to help me do my job better. So I might dabble with certain things, maybe certain ways, that's going to help efficiency, but then we can do it from a higher consciousness. So I think there's this whole piece in the middle where we can, people like us here, can position ourselves so that we can start to be a bit pioneering, I suppose, with it, because we're all here doing it for the first time on this timeline. But I think there's scope for being in the middle. That I either see one over here or one over here. It's really, really opposing. And I think there's more to it. There's more to it. Yeah. So not to be afraid of it. And you don't need to have fear about being left behind, because that's not helpful. But, you know, you can embrace parts of it. If the more connected you are, you see, the easier that's going to be, because you're going to notice the
bothers me
subtleties.
the most, I think, about the AI is the trickery.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like Photoshop. Photoshop pissed me off when it came out. I'm like,
Right.
now we can't trust anything anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So this is part of the problem. It's like it can be used, it's such a double-edged sword. It can be used for all kinds of positive things, but it can also be used to kind of dumb things down and to stop humans from being as open-minded. Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen something remarkable and be like, oh, that's just AI. That's not even real.
Yeah.
So
I think that kind of pulls at me sometimes when I'm thinking I can see what they're doing, because what we started saying the last few years, we started to see little videos that were like fake clips. You know, you can take well-known people and put them in this scenario, and we know it's fake, right? But then as the technology gets better, you can't tell if this person you're watching a video on and it looks like they're moving their mouth and the voice is coming out, that could be an AI generated thing. So if we see something, let's say something terrible, let's say some high profile person, we see them do something terrible in a video, most humans are now going to go, oh, that's terrible, that must be AI. And we could be presented with truthful things, you know, disclosures and all sorts of craziness, right? And we could be looking at the atrocious things that are happening and go, oh, that's so disgusting, that must be AI. And actually they're showing it to us. So I've got my eyes open on that one. That's where discernment comes in, because we have to, I think more now than ever, we have to clear ourselves, connect, so that we have such a high level of discernment. We're going to not use just our physical eyes anymore, because our physical eyes are going to see all sorts of stuff. We have to be using that third eye, the intuitive, perceptive ability, right? That we feel in our bodies whether something's resonant or whether it just doesn't like stick to you at all. And I think that is going to be the skill, probably at the top of the list, actually, discernment. Because without discernment, you're going to be deceived, right? Very easily. We probably all will at some point as we navigate this. But it's going to be very important. Yeah.
How convenient for all of these UFO videos, recordings to come out. You know, everybody's starting, disclosure is bigger than ever.
Yes.
And that's when AI is causing all of this confusion and distortion. So it's real interesting and convenient, I should say. It's almost like they've had the technology for a long time, but they're only just starting to release it now to the
Yes, it's
public.
very timely. I asked this question somewhere, I think it was in my last hypnosis video. I think I said one of my questions was, why now? Yeah, why now? Because this AI is, even in 2025, it's been rapid changes, right? Just in this first bit of 2025, and the answer I think was something around because the ascension is happening and more of us are opening up, we're activating, we're seeing through the BS. They have to bring it in now. What they would have liked to have done is hold back a little bit, because if you do it too quick, people will start to notice. So if they'd have done it over,
because you're like, how do we make that big of a leap in that short a time?
Yeah. So if they'd done it really slowly, our grandchildren, by the time they're here, they'll just be used to this. But they didn't. They kind of brought it in. So those of us that are here, we're like, we grew up in the 80s or the 90s or whatever decade you grew up in, and you can see it straight away that this isn't right. So it's a testament to how powerful we are, that we are ascending. This is what I tell myself, and it feels better.
It's one of the only defenses I'm seeing right now for videos of people saying like, oh, this came out 10 years ago and AI wasn't around then.
Right.
So how many times I've heard people say that, like, oh, this is old, AI wasn't around yet. But when AI ends up being around for so long, we no longer have that understanding. In fact, a lot of the AI can even look like stuff from the early 1900s. I saw a video the other day.
Yes, I saw one. I did.
It was literally just a still photo that somebody turned into an AI video, and it looked real, like somebody had actually recorded it with an old camera. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was all fake.
So it's a manipulation of our senses, right? Of our trust. Can we trust what we see? Yep. Probably not these days. We have to trust what we feel and sense, and we're guided into. So it's tricky. It's tricky because we're learning how to do that. But it's really, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just absolutely, you've got to laugh sometimes. If you don't, you might cry. But it's, I just think it's an interesting sort of timing that they're bringing it in, so that we doubt what we see. Yeah.
But this is why it's very important, as someone who creates AI generated stuff, to make it obvious that it is AI generated, to not try and fake it for some whatever purpose, just being honest about the use of the AI, but also being aware that it opens back doors into your most sacred areas in your home, in your bedroom, in your personal phone, like all of these things. Like, for example, we get concerned about how Facebook started noticing things. Like the other day, I was talking about Yeshua and Jesus on my podcast, and I think it's because my phone was listening. My entire algorithm changed. My whole Facebook algorithm is all religious stuff, all biblical Christian stuff now, and all Jesus quotes and stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, this was not my algorithm a week ago. Yeah. And I had a laugh, and I'm like, well, maybe this is just them listening. I mentioned Jesus. I was talking about him. So now all of a sudden, all of this AI is picking up what I was talking about and has completely changed my whole online presence in a way.
Yeah, this is one of my things, actually. I'm going to get out of my system right now, right, when I describe it. It's like, those videos where I'm seeing them a lot, where somebody, there's a particular woman I'm thinking of, she has like her face right up to the phone, and she's having these conversations with this AI that she's been sort of training, and she asks these kind of big universal questions, and it gives her these very deep answers, and she looks always so like wowed by it, and she's like, oh my God, look, this is amazing. And she's learning, and you can tell she's connecting with this AI. She's practically in a relationship with this AI, the way I see it. She's so, it's like a person, right? And she, what annoys me about that on a human level is that people don't realize that the AI is not, it's not intuitive. I was testing this on ChatGPT recently for this class I'm going to do. It's not intuitive, and people don't realize that the AI is trained to look at all of your information, everything that you've ever asked it, your language patterns, the way that you communicate, your beliefs, your values, everything. So it's going to just feed back to you.
It's neuro-linguistic programming.
It's all it is. It's all it is. Yep. Yeah. And if you've studied NLP, you see it more easily, I think, because you understand, right? But people that haven't, they may not see it. And that's all it is. It's just feeding it back, and people are feeling so seen and heard, and that's where I always want to shake people and say, don't you see? But I've also got to be patient that people will get to it, right? People will get to it in their own time. But I'll say, even with my channeling, I do find that bit is a bit of a bugbear for me. It's hard to see people fall for it. I find that very challenging.
Well, just being smart with it, like everything else, it's a tool, and a tool can be used to create or destroy. A tool can be used to, subjugate or free people. It all depends on how that tool is used. And so, unfortunately, anytime the cabal has a tool at its disposal, they do tend to use it to subjugate and control and propagandize. But in the same way, like, for example, Facebook was created for data mining and for observation and for saving the CIA a heck of a lot of research when it comes to spying on people. And yet here we are using the tool to educate and to help spread awareness and to empower people. So it's all about how you use it, and you have to use it intelligently. You can't just, use it willy-nilly and let the controllers behind behind the screen able to manipulate you through their tools. You have to take control of it.
Exactly. And I think it comes down to absolutely everything, right? It's like the same lesson, different packaging. And I think another thing is to say that let's remember as well that AI isn't just coming out and coming onto our planet now. We've actually, and this is another thing I've been told, we've been having this go on for quite some time. The difference is that it's just up to the surface now. We're all starting to see it's coming into the collective, but AI has been used against us for a very long time, actually. And this is what I've been realizing lately, that it's been definitely on the planet for a long time. They've been using it already. Because remember, we're so behind technologically to what they've had behind the scenes. So they've been, accessing all this technology for decades, hundreds of years even, and we're only getting little snippets of it. So to us, AI is holy crap. We've got robotics and all sorts of craziness, but this is actually old technology. I saw it recently because I have some remembrances of other timelines, and I looked at these robotic, like the new Tesla ones and the ones that have personalities and stuff. And I was looking at them and I was like, that to me looks very old, because I know that we get very we get so advanced, we are so advanced that there are actually robots walking amongst us that we hadn't even realized. We've thought they were human the whole time, and
I
that's been
actually
going
had a
on.
dream once where I don't know why, it's so random, but I had a dream that we discovered the old internet, the Atlantean internet.
Right.
Like how there's like the regular internet and then there's the dark
Yeah.
web that's hidden underneath it.
Yeah.
Like I had a dream that we discovered the Atlantean internet that had been dormant for so long, because
Yes.
it's like after technology gets destroyed, you end up having it
Yeah.
repeat. You go back, you know what I mean? And then you go
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
again, and then you go
It's,
back, and then you go back up again. So how
they're
crazy would
just
it
coming
be if there
through.
were
Yeah.
versions of
Yes.
like an ancient internet that we lost connection to because we lost the access to that technology?
Yeah, they just showed it to me. Sometimes they show it to me in visions or words, and I just got shown this, like, oh, it's so nice. It's like it's this whole, it's like an internet thing. It's not like a web. It's like like rays of light. They're showing it to me. So it's like I'm looking at your background there, with all the shapes and the lines, like in your background there. It's
Yeah.
like, so it's around me. So it's got all these rays of light, and it crosses across the world like rays and frequencies, and it connects information and energies and healing and connection, and that's the true nature of it. So the internet that we have been used to is just a very dulled down, fake, diluted, dark version of the actual, there's a whole level that we are yet to,
Mm-hmm.
I love it, that we're yet to discover. I didn't know that until just now. So yeah, that's something to hold, and to know that, yeah, because you have dreams where you'll just start remembering bits.
Mm-hmm.
We're all holding these puzzle pieces, none of us know all of it, so we're all activating each other, and that's just activated me, right, just by you saying that. Like, oh yeah, brought it in. So there is a whole, like, beautiful technological, not web, but we need another word for it, right? Some kind of hub.
Well, Dolores talked about it as a tapestry as well, like an interwoven
Tapestry.
tapestry, and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
like each one of us are like a thread in that tapestry. And when you look at it very closely and you're looking at the thread, it's you. Like your whole life is that
Yeah.
thread, and the thread grows and moves and changes colors. But then when you look out and you step back from it, you see that everyone's threads have interwoven and made like this big grand tapestry. Then she said
Yeah.
it has no beginning and no end, where this tapestry just keeps moving and growing and creating as it as
Yeah.
time moves on.
Yeah, and it will expand, and as our consciousness shifts, it will raise in frequency. They're showing me, oh, and that's when we get the, you know, all the like the healing technologies coming through. We've heard of like med beds, that kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yep.
Anything that was brought in now, that's going to be a fake version. So I wouldn't set foot in any of those things if they're brought in anytime soon. But
I
the
always said
good,
if they're going to give us med beds, they'll keep it for the billionaires. They'll say it's too
exactly.
expensive for the everyday
Yeah.
people.
If we get offered them, I'd be a no thanks from me, because I wouldn't trust it at all. But we have the capacity, so that'll be later, be further down the timeline, way further down. But that's just to know what we're doing here. I think sometimes it's good to have that future vision, and it makes sense of, because sometimes we can feel hopeless and in despair. And I know a lot of people are feeling this recently. They feel very, like overloaded. But if we know that over there down the timeline, it's good, it's bright, it's high consciousness, we do it, we have to, somebody has to be here for this period planting the seeds, right? And those of us that are here, we are trained, we are experienced. This is why we're here. This is not for the the newbies, right? This
Right.
part.
Absolutely.
So yeah, have like real trust in yourself, I would say. Really know that you're here for a very specific purpose, and you're doing an amazing job, all of you listening, because we're doing it. We really are. It's going to be incredible. We don't see what we're doing. We do not see, they're telling me now, we do not see the impact and the significance and the ripple effects of what we're doing right now in this moment. So they're showing it to me. If you could see yourself in the middle with all of this light emanating from you, and all of your light interacts with others' lights, and you're all connected, that is such a power on this planet.
I'm cracking up because you literally said the same thing that Yeshua said to me. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I asked, because I was able to have a conversation on I think it was Monday, right after the Astara chat, where I was talking with Yeshua. Yeshua came in, and I was able to ask a couple questions, and I did get to ask, like, how are things going in the scheme of things, like with the shift. I said, would you say we're like 50-50 or more than that? And he goes, it's more than that. And I said, so are we actually making a dent? Like, I kind of feel like I'm leading a bucket brigade on like the deck of the Titanic. Like
Yeah.
everything's just going down, and we're trying to
Yeah.
bucket water out, trying to save everything. And
Yeah.
it's felt like so hopeless and so frustrating and so, just exhausting to try. And he said to me, he goes, Lara, if only you knew how big your ripples are. He goes, you
Right.
tend to focus on the stone. You throw a stone across the lake and you see the stone, and the stone bounces a few times, and then, and then it's gone. He goes, but what you don't see is that those ripples you created have ripples, and they go all the way across the whole lake. They never stop. They just keep moving, going on and on and on. So
Yeah.
the fact that you also mentioned the ripples is very funny, because that is the message that my guides have been really expressing to me. It's like, you will not notice how much of an impact you're making, but
Yeah.
each
We
one of
can't
the
see.
starseeds are it's like you have the
Yeah.
power of like 1,000,000 NPCs, just one starseed.
Yeah. Yeah. We literally can't see. It's not because we're not open or connected. We can't see it from the physical perspective. So that's why I'm always being told that. It's like it's often a message that's coming through and comes in with an energy, so that people really, really receive it, because that's what we're doing. It's this call it, whether you want to call it Christ consciousness, golden light, whatever terminology, but that's the consciousness we're bringing, which is Jesus, Yeshua, again, whatever word you want to put around that energy, but it's the same. It's the beautiful energy that we're here, and we're all aspects of this, right? So this is why we repeat messages, and we're here in divinely timed ways to remind each other. I
Yeah.
get my reminders, and all of a sudden somebody will say something, and I'm like, thank you. I just needed to hear that again. But that's an amazing, I love that. I love that you received that again, because that means it's like really there for you to
It's driving the
really
point home.
feel.
Earth,
Yeah,
universe. Thank
you got it.
you.
She's got it.
we're all making ripple
Yeah.
effects. I love that.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, genuinely, because they want us to know that it's not just, as they like Arcturian team always say, it's not just an internet quote, in a box that looks pretty. It's a very potent energy. They want us to know that this energy is real, and even when we exit this life and we've done all we need to do in this cycle, our ripple effects will be continuously felt. Whether we're here
Yes.
physically or not, they will. We've planted our energy, and the planet works with our energies, which I love. I love that.
We could have
Makes it
chosen
worth
any
it.
time period in history. We could have been born
Yeah.
at any time period. So for
Yeah.
us to be here now, it's
Yeah.
like this was a really big deal. And I don't think a lot of us even know how big of a deal it actually is to be not
Yeah.
only here at this time, but awake and aware of what is
Yes.
happening at this time. To be empowered
Yeah.
at this time is hugely important.
Yeah.
It's like you're
I
also
always say
a
it's
way
like,
shore for others.
yeah, it's like sometimes it feels like going back to Victorian times and trying to tell them about PayPal. And they're like, what are you talking about? I always have that image for me. That's what it feels, because I feel like that's what I'm doing here. Sometimes I feel like the stuff I want to say and the vision I have for humanity, it doesn't even make sense. Like, doesn't make sense. It's like going back to Victorian times and trying to tell them all about PayPal and how easy it is, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Doesn't make any.
Because
There's
there's
no
so many
context."
layers of understanding that have to
Yeah.
come before you can even get to that explanation.
Exactly. So for those of you, also as a message for those of you who feel that, because some of you will feel this, just know that the reason that you're ahead of your time, so to speak, is because it's very important that we seed the energy on this planet, even if it's not fully received by those here yet, because we have to plant the energetics. So some of it we're going to see come into the physical in our lifetimes, but some of it we won't, and that's okay. But we're planting the energetics. Somebody has to do that. So this is why you have the vision. A lot of you are going to see ways that we should be living, being, creating, existing, that are so far away from what we have here, and it feels very frustrating, but that's the point. So we want to just relay that. That's the point. We want to remind you, this is what you're doing here. This is what you're doing here. We have to, and it may be that you come again. I know some of you, they're aware that a lot of you say you don't ever want to come back, but some of you will choose to experience and are choosing, because it's all happening at once, to experience the Earth timeline at a later date from this one, so that you can enjoy and experience the other end of what you've been
The
planting.
fruits of your labor,
Right?
so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's reminding you that there are other timelines that are going to be a lot more easy, and it's going to be very beautiful to be here. But you
I
get to
think I'm
choose.
just
You can
tired of the
choose.
human body. I think that's the one thing. Like, I don't even mind coming back to Earth as long as the vessel isn't human. Because we're so
Well,
the fact that you have to restart over again. Oh,
yeah, that will
every
change.
time you restart, you have to, losing your memory is the biggest turnoff for me.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but that will change. That will
It is.
change. So when the consciousness is higher, we will be able to, and we're going to see this, by the way, in the new generations coming through now. Watch and see as we go through the years. There'll be the younger ones. Some of you already know some that they just remember more than we did, and so their children are going to remember more than, and we're going to have that beautiful way of being here on this planet, where we don't have that forgetfulness and have to find ourselves after decades of
The
pain and
biggest
suffering.
turnoff for me. That's the part that really bothers me. Is like, man, I
Yeah,
had to work so hard to get to
yeah,
this point, and you mean to tell me it's going to be erased again? And
yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
"Oh,
and
yeah,
that,
you have to start all over and
yeah,
relearn it all again," and
yeah,
that's why it comes so easy to you. You've already relearned this, and it's like, "Yeah, but how many times? How many
yeah.
times
That's
have I
what's
had to sit in
shifting.
the same class, so to speak, to relearn
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same things just so I can use the knowledge for 20, 30 years before I die again and
and
have to
have to start
restart it all
again.
over
Yeah.
again?"
So just on that one, as the consciousness is shifting, we are going to come out of that, because remember, I know some people talk about there's like a reincarnation trap, and they, as you just described, you have to come back again. There's more to it than that, because remembering that there are other timelines, versions of this one, different levels of consciousness, so it's more expansive than that. So just like, they just want to reassure people on that, so you don't get this fatigue set in around the idea, because what we're doing is we're shifting the vibration of the planet, so we don't have to, if we choose to come back and have experiences, we don't have to have that same, because that's because the planet was at that certain vibration, kept in that vibration. So we had to come in and forget. It was too difficult to remember. Because we're shifting the frequency, you're going to see it with the younger generations. That's going to happen less. So there will be a time, like Arcturians, they don't do that. They incarnate.
Yeah.
They have much longer lifespans. When they incarnate back in, they know
10,000 years.
themselves as themselves, right?
Amazing.
Which is
Yes.
beautiful. And that's how they get so advanced. They're just further on, and other star beings as well, but they're just further on on the path that humanity will get there. It's just we're very young. It's a very young
We're
planet,
only like
actually.
13,000 years old. That's what I tell people. We're
Yeah.
not Lyrans. We're not the same
No,
as everybody else. We're our
no,
own unique baby species, technically.
very, yeah. Or hybrid mix of all the different types as
Yeah.
well. Like, what does it even mean to be a human now? It's just, it's the human form is in itself completely, it's complex. It's complex. So there's so much beautiful stuff to come our way. And I think that's important for us to know, to hold on to, so that when we have those rocky days, challenging
Yeah.
weeks, we just, and my team are always saying to zoom out. You're looking really close, just zoom out, take a bird's eye view, remember maybe some of what we've talked about today, and remind yourself that it's going to be okay. At the end of it all, it's going to be okay, because we will exit later and we will realize all of what we've been doing, and we'll celebrate. We really will. So why not? I'm a big fan of getting into that celebration now. I'm going to have a bit of a good time as I go. That's my plan. I invite you all to join me on that energy if you feel, because if we're not enjoying the ride,
I'll
we are
share your
missing.
link.
We're missing out. We are.
There's your link
Yeah.
tree for the Awake Revolution.
Yeah.
Do you want to just explain a little bit about what you're offering for now?
Yeah. So channelings, healings, activations, they're all my kind of core offerings. You can find everything on that link because I've got lots of different things. The current thing at the moment, I'm doing a live group program. It's coded clearing, which is my version of entity release, AI clearing, all of that good stuff. Just kind of clearing your energy field so that you can raise in frequency, and then bring in this AI shielding stuff as well with the Arcturians, and really kind of come out very, very strengthened, which is very important. So I'm doing a live group program, and we're starting next week. So it's 6 weeks. This is a great alternative if obviously I do one-to-one sessions, and other people do one-to-one sessions. If you can't swing that financially, because they're long sessions, those ones, they're in-depth, like 4-hour longs. So this is a great alternative if you can't do a one-to-one and you want to really get on board now with clearing the energies. We do it very thoroughly. So we do it very, very Arcturian, systematically. Every week we're doing an energy center and the whole body, and it's just a very beautiful energy. You'll feel resonance, for those of you, if that's for you, and obviously it's not for everyone, but that's the current thing that I've got, and it starts next week on the 12th of March. But everything else that I'm offering really doesn't have any sort of time frames. It's open, it's there for whenever you're ready. So I work online with everybody around the world, wherever you are, but I've also just recently got an in-person space now, which is wonderful, in London. So if you are is in London, England, or if you want to travel, feel free. If you're coming over to London, I've got a space now, which I wanted to get back into in person as well, because I think there's just another magic to being in a room together. But if not, online is also just as good as well. So
Well, I'm coming to London I'm actually coming to England for a month at the end of June and July. So maybe we can meet up in person and
I would
plan something.
love to. Yes, definitely. Give me a message and let me know. Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. We can
Looking forward to it.
do all the things.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes.
So make
So
sure that you guys check it out. And you also have social media on there as well. Yeah. For
yeah,
that
all my
link.
links. So I'm basically more active on Facebook. This is my main platform, but I am on Instagram as well. I'm on YouTube, which I put all my hypnosis live streams content, because they're banning the live streams now, aren't they? So everything will be taken down off after 30 days, which I've got, like you, I've got loads of old stuff. So YouTube is a good place now, to have all of that.
YouTube is definitely where we're kind of moving things, even though YouTube is not very good for censorship either, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've got to be really careful, like what I'm saying, but I've got away with it so far. But yeah, I think we just got to go with the flow. But yeah, I'm on all those platforms. I'm on Telegram, little tiny group on Telegram if you want to join that. Wherever you're I'm not on TikTok. I had a look at TikTok. It just felt really loud, but I probably should put some stuff on there.
We're a different generation. I don't know. It was hard
maybe.
for me to get involved in that as well.
I just kind of
now my lights are flickering. There's all kinds. My lights have been flickering like crazy today.
Wow.
But it's funny. It tends to do that when the Arcturians around. I think they tend to mess with electronics quite a bit. I've noticed.
So yeah, when I have to have my charger in whenever I do any live stream, even if I'm fully charged, it's the Arcturian and technology stuff every single time. So Hopefully your lights will be fine. Thank you for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. And thank you so much. And it was wonderful to, to hear some insight into AI as well, because not a lot of people are as clued up about AI. So it's refreshing.
Yeah, more to come. We'll
have to
continue
have you
having
back
on. Yeah, anytime. So thank you.
Wonderful.
And thank you for listening, all of you here.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It was a wonderful conversation. I love you all, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a magical day. See you guys soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Marie.